Hello everybody, my name is Isaac, and back by popular demand is another update on my D&D character sheet app. Now, I haven't been working on it too much since the last update. I've kind of had stretches where I've been on and off, working on it, not working on it, and sort of long stretches of not working on it. But I'm working on it pretty regularly now, and I've made some pretty good progress. I would say the app is sort of in a state where you could almost use it as a proper character sheet for a level 1 fighting type character, which is a lot of progress from last time when there was literally just creating the character and then it sent you to a blank screen that said this character sheet hasn't been implemented yet. So definitely a step up, and I've made some improvements to the character creation progress along the way as well. So without further ado, let's jump into it. So you can see here that this page looks pretty much the same as it did before. Let's jump through the character creation process one time, and I'll show you the improvements and updates that we have there, and then we'll jump on to the actual character sheet page itself, which did not exist in any meaningful form the last time I did an update. So here we go. Now, the first thing you will notice about this is everyone is here. Yes, every class and race in the player's handbook is now implemented at a level 1 level. So we're going to take this, I'm going to just show you, as well, we also have all the backgrounds here. I'm going to show you some new features real quick. We're going to jump through to the skill selection. I'll just bypass this for now. Alright, so what I want to show you is a brand new feature for the character creation process, which I call Selective Wipeout. So take a look at this. I'm going to pick a whole bunch of skill proficiencies. There's some from being human, some from background, some from being a cleric, and some from the blessings of knowledge from the cleric's divine domain. And if I go back and I pick a different class, I'm going to pick wizard. And yeah, he's a sage because he's a wizard. He's a chaotic wizard. Let's give him a bunch of intelligence, sure. I'll go back to this page actually. You can see that the skill proficiencies from being human and from the background are still there, but the skill proficiencies from being a cleric have been wiped out. And that is because when we save the skill proficiency to the character, when we save any feature selection to the character, we save some metadata about where that skill proficiency came from, and we can do a wipeout then based on the fact that I'm switching classes. We can do a wipeout for all feature selections that are sourced from that class, while leaving all the other ones intact. So previously I would actually just wipe out all feature selections, so all of these skill proficiencies would have been wiped out. So this wizard, Arcana, History, Investigation, Nature, Religion. There we go. Very intelligent wizard. And let's... Oh, another nice thing is it actually saves those things when I go back, so I don't have to pick them again. Before, it would only save them if you hit the confirm button. Low strength, high constitution, and then a bit of dexterity. I also added this nice little feature, the ability to roll for ability scores. Now, the game doesn't roll for you. All it does is just uncap these from between 8 and 15. It changes the range from 3 to 18, which is the minimum and maximum number you can get from, you know, the rolling 3 dice. Roll 4, take the highest 3, that's the rule. So, you know, the player is expected to do the actual rolling. One design philosophy I have with this app is to not replace things that people like doing, right? So you can see it's a very minimalist design. It's not using a lot of realism or skeuomorphism because people want to use their imagination. They're sitting at the, you know, the table to use their imagination, to move miniatures around. I don't want to get in the way of that with having any kind of graphics here. And likewise, people like picking up dice, they like rolling dice. They don't necessarily like counting, so I might add some kind of automatic dice counting feature using the camera. That would be kind of interesting to do. But that's that would be a ways away if I were to try to implement something like that. So yeah, we're gonna go back to buying ability scores. I could set all of these to 18 if I wanted, but you know, that would be unsportsmanlike. I've got my skill proficiencies here. Languages, obviously you need to know Draconic. You need to know Gnomish, of course, and Elvish makes sense. Oh, forgot to point this out. You'll notice there's a little dagger next to Intelligence and Wisdom that indicates the saving throw proficiency. So I've now implemented a way in the ability score block to indicate whether the character actually proficiency in the saving throw for that ability. Okay, let's get back to where we were before. We are on this page, and you'll see that I moved the prompt down to the bottom. It used to be the title there, but then that was confusing if you were a high elf wizard, because you would have this prompt that said select 3 more wizard cantrips. Okay, select 2 more wizard cantrips, select 1 more wizard cantrip, confirm wizard cantrip. Chill touch is garbage. Let's do mage hand. And then you would click confirm, and it would actually take you to another page that said choose 1 more wizard cantrip with no indication of why. And now if you click through, it will actually say high elf cantrips up the top, and the prompt will still be choose 1 wizard cantrip. So that's sort of the benefit there. That's this. I probably showed this page last time with the information about the spell. We won't go into all of that stuff. Now we have spellbook spells, which is of course for the wizard. The wizard didn't exist the last time I did this, so I'm just going to do a quick demonstrate this. The nice thing with this is that we have another sort of wipeout here. If I do that, you can see that I actually keep in my spellbook the ones that are still in my spellbook, and the ones I removed from my spellbook are no longer in my list of prepared spells. Chromatic Orb, Color Spray, Color Spray. Who wants Color Spray? Let's get rid of that. What's a good one? Obviously Burning Hands. Charm Person. Okay. Yeah, that looks pretty good. And the feet. Oh yeah. Let's be a spell sniper maybe? That's a good one. Alright. Primary weapon. A quarterstaff. A staff. This is basically the same as it was before. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make it so that this spellcasting component, this staff, can also have the attributes of being a weapon, because we know that a wizard's staff that he uses as an arcane focus can also be used as a quarterstaff. Right now there's no way for an item to be both an arcane focus and a weapon, but I'm going to implement something that allows it to be both. So for example, you could have a rod that can also be a mace, and you can have, a staff that can also be a quarterstaff. So that's something that we're going to implement. Also, of course, need to implement the custom starting equipment package that you do by spending your budget of gold. That'll come a little later as well. And significantly upgraded this page because now, first of all, it doesn't look horrible, and second of all, you can take a photo. So let's enter the name of our wizard and take a photo. Aw, look at our cute wizard. Alright. And this is it. This is the character sheet page. Oh, it's so good. It looks so cool. I mean, the resource box looks a little silly. Like, why do we have increment and max increment when there's only when the value is 1? That's so pointless. That could actually be a checkbox. I do kind of want to make like a special case for when the consumable resource has a max value of. That might look good. Anyway, let me kind of walk you through this page. Obviously down here on the bottom I have my skills, effects and conditions, so if you're exhausted or something like that, poisoned, you would put it down there so you can remember that for next session. Inspiration, proficiency bonus, passive perception. If there's a little dagger here, you have inspiration. If there's not, you don't. Again, your ability scores on the left, just like the actual character sheet. Pretty straightforward. Your gold here, just above that arcane recovery block, your gold is actually the sum of all your money denominated in gold pieces. Needed this space for the consumable resources. So we've got consumable resources. Yeah, what else? Let's take a look at this hit points block now. This is kind of neat. You'll notice that there is no other block for temporary hit points or your death saves or anything like that, because you don't really need them unless you're dead. Unless you're unconscious and making death saves. And now you need to see the death saves. So let's say you fail your death saves. Oh no, you're gonna succeed. Oh, incredible. That was lucky. And now he's stable. Our wizard is stable and we can revive him. Or, if he fails his death saves, he is dead. And we can, again, tap to revive him. Because death is not permanent in Dungeons & Dragons, because there are all kinds of spells that bring people back to life. And that is the character sheet page, and I will just show you some other cases of the character sheet page. You'll notice that I referred to this arcane recovery block as being a consumable resource, and all sorts of consumable resources are possible, and there are a lot of character builds that use more than one consumable resource, such as the Paladin. So let's take a look at Aladin here. He has 2 consumable resource blocks, one for Divine Sense and one for Lay on Hands. This guy definitely quote-unquote rolled for his ability scores. And the max value for Divine Sense and Lay on Hands is determined dynamically. It's scripted to be, you know, the character's ability score modifier for Charisma +1, and then the Lay on Hands is specified as being the character's level times 5. So that will automatically go up when the character increases in level. So that's an example of 2. Let's take a look at 0, which is what the Ranger. The Ranger actually has no consumable resources, not at level 1, not ever. And so in that case, I just use the extra space and expand out the currency blocks so that it's not just gold. So for example, with the single gold block, if you had 10 gold pieces and 1 Electrum piece, say, it would say 10.5 gold pieces. Whereas right here, it would say you have 10 gold pieces and 1 Electrum piece. Now, what about for the Monk? Monk level 1. Monks have Ki, but they do not have Ki until level 2. So I put this block here to give you that sense of anticipation. Look at that, we're gonna have Ki in the future. That's exciting. That's something that, if you've never played this before, you'll see that and you'll be like, ooh, look at that. At Monk level 2, I'm going to have Ki. Now I really want to level up to level 2. And that's kind of a nice, fun, exciting thing. Oh, you will also notice that the unarmored defense feature is implemented here. This guy has an armor class of 16 thanks to his wisdom and dexterity modifiers. You can also probably tell he took the resilient feat because he has 3 saving throw proficiencies, which is not normal for a level 1 character. And now, what happens? You can clearly see that, like, let's look at Aladin here. You can clearly see that 2 pretty much takes up the whole thing. What happens if we have more than 2? What happens if we have 3? For example, a Dragonborn Paladin, who has Breath Weapon, Divine Sense, and Lay on Hands. So what we have now here is a little scrolling view of all of your consumable resources. And it fits just right, and you can just increase, decrease, scroll through, and that is pretty neat. Now, I mentioned at the beginning of this video that it is essentially ready to be used for a level 1 fighting type character. And basically what essentially ready means is you never change your equipment and you have your attacks memorized, because what do you not see on this page? You don't see any weapons, you don't see any attack modifiers or damage modifiers or anything like that. So basically the next thing I'm going to implement is a combat page, and let me show you how I'm thinking of laying this out. Basically it'll be sort of a cross. It'll be with this main home page in the middle. To the right, there'll be combat. Below, there will be spellcasting, so you'll swipe up, for example, and then you'll sort of move down to the bottom of the cross where there'll be a spellcasting page. If you swipe downwards, you'll go up to the top of the cross to the equipment page. You'll be able to change all of your equipment, put on different magic items, decide which magic items you're attuned to, and to the left will be the adventure log with all of your personality, any personal notes that you want to write about your adventure to remind yourself about names of people and places, and anything else that you want to write about. And those things are going to be my next priority as far as features being implemented are concerned. So my priority is going to be complete first the combat page, then the spellcasting page, then the equipment page, and as part of completing the equipment page, I'm going to have to add a whole bunch of items to the game, and at that point it will also make sense to go back and add the starting equipment pack customization option to the character creation process. Then finally after that, I might add the adventure log page, the left cross. It's honestly not a priority. It might even be a priority to just start adding additional levels, add the level up flow. That might be even more important than implementing the adventure log, but we'll see what happens after the core level 1 gameplay is prepared. And that's it. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. I hope you all have a great day, and remember, if something's worth doing, it's worth doing badly.